Are you leaving without me, Beagle? Okay, bye. Grab that line, pull us ashore. When the water gets up to about my waist or so, then I jump inside. I know I can trim the motor up and get out. So just to play it safe. It is really windy today. Sometimes we get behind it. We have a windbreak, but sometimes you have to come out away from the windbreaks, and then you get caught in it again. And we're getting hit on the port corner, but yeah, no big deal. I mean, it's just makes the boat kind of drift sideways. I got to kind of turn into it a little bit, but this boat's planted pretty good in the water. By this point, I don't really worry about this kind of weather. Show you some manatees. I think you just saw. Yeah, there they are. I think you're probably getting a little footage right there in front of us. Look at that. Look at that. Manatees. I'll try not to run them over here. Holy cow. Look at that. What are you doing? Are you mating? Daytona Beach, Florida. This is one of the more beautiful bridges that we've crossed under here in Florida. Looks very new. We're just sitting here slowly making our way north at 3.6 miles an hour. I'm like, what can I say about this? And it occurred to me. So, you can see we're going into the wind today. That's why we're going so slow. I'm probably doing pretty close to 3,000 RPMs. I try to stick around 2,200 RPMs for best gas mileage. But what I do instead is I just adjust my speed. If I figure, like, I could knock it up another, I could go up to 5,000 RPMs if I wanted to, and probably get up to 5 miles an hour again, which is kind of our sweet spot. It's kind of our whole speed, but I'd be burning a whole lot more gas. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, in order to just kind of go with the flow and the conditions, if I got to drop down to, every once in a while it goes up to 4 miles an hour. And just have an exceptionally slow day, I'm not going to worry about it too much in the whole scheme of things, and just continue to take it easy on the motor, take it easy on the fuel consumption, and soon we'll be in a channel. Oh, look at that. Gotta look right behind you once in a while. We got some sailboats. We've been being passed by big, looper yachts, which are great. They're beautiful, just expensive, and they're not slowing down. We were passed by one that was going out of Booth Bay Harbor in Maine, which had me dreaming about Maine again. We'll talk about that sometime. We're gonna get up to Maine here really soon, but yeah, guys, that's what we're doing. This is what the Shanty Boat Beagle Adventure does. The Beagle Barge Beagle Adventure does. Is just kind of adjusts accordingly, goes slow. If it gets below 3 miles an hour, then I do start kicking it up and figure that's just too slow. I can walk faster than that. I'm going to show you guys these trees just to try to give you some visual reference to how we're beating against the wind. Spring in Florida, I've heard, is just very windy. Get passed by a sailboat. Okay. There is a lot of manatees in this particular area. The second I pull the phone out, they disappear. Hopefully we'll see some. We're not too far away from St. Augustine. Here, I'm going to show you guys. So we're back here in this little horseshoe atoll bay. It's like a little bay. Barely creeped in there, 1.5 foot of water. And it's windy out here in the main channel, and then we have, big boats going by. They can't help but throw a wake. I'm not a complainer of wake really, unless you're just blasting by when you shouldn't be going that fast, but he's not going fast. But watch this. When you're on this side, this is what you would get. You're on this side, nothing. Slack water. Now it's possible that the tide's going to drop and we might get stuck in there for, I don't know, a while, but I decided even if I get stuck in there just for today or something, I'm fine with that. This is a great spot to hang out. It's very beautiful. One of my favorite boats, a Nordic tug, 32. I'd take one of those any day. This is the A1A road that goes down mostly hugs the East Coast right on the shore of Florida. And we just happen to be right next to it right now. You can see the lighthouse out there. We did a video of that. We went up in it, did a thorough exploration of the grounds. It's a worthwhile video to watch. Some of St. Augustine. You'll see some of these amazing buildings that they have. It really is a beautiful town. I'm not a tourist, conventional tourist, but I gotta tell you, St. Augustine is a very special place to explore. You can see it has some beautiful buildings. Flagger. Remember that name. You can see when you start getting close to an inlet to the ocean, it does get a lot rougher, but no big deal. This is actually nothing compared to a lot of what we've seen so far. And here I'll show you this. So we are doing a little cutting of a corner. Normally they would have you go out around those cans and kind of back in, because any place you have, just for the folks that don't know, anytime you have a place that there's an inlet, it makes for interesting confluences of different stuff going on. And so you would look out here and you think, oh, this is going to be really deep because we're right near the ocean. And it's like, well, No, sometimes Navionics, tells us this comes up to like 7 feet, which is fine. And also I can see that there's some sailboats. That's always a good sign too. If you see some sailboats out there anchored, then you know that it's got some depth. So we feel okay cutting this corner, but I'll tell you, when you start getting around these outlets to the ocean, you really got to pay attention. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's currents and winds, more waves. Places that you would think would have plenty of depth might come up to next to nothing and even be like a sandbar in low tide. So, just something to think about. I spotted this dock over here, and I know this is an interesting area that I explored once with Wayne of Wayne Diaries, and I think we're going to come over here and tie up to the dock for a couple hours and go, I want to show you this area if it's where I'm thinking it is. Volano Beach Pier. I know this spot because 5 years ago when we did the Shanty Boat Beagle adventure, we rode over to St. Augustine here and visited Wayne's Diaries. He was down here in his truck, homemade truck camper. It was pretty cool. We rode the scooter over here, hung out with him for a couple, 3 days, and we came down here, and I remember this little, I don't even know what it is, just kind of a strip. And it's all old school. It's got a lot of Art Deco buildings, and it's not overly developed, surprisingly. So it has kind of an old feel to it, like a throwback to the 50s and 60s, I'd say. It's a neat area. We're leaving. I will move on to a sailboat someday when I sail away, like the song says. But I don't know much about them. I just kind of go by how they look. And that one looks awesome. To me, that just looks like a world sailor right there. If you know anything about sailboats, tell me what you think. That's a beauty. This looks like a nice place to live. It's very exclusive. This canal is like the Miracle Mile. I bet you every one of these houses, aside from just a couple I've seen, are like couple million. Who knows, maybe more. I don't really keep up with the prices anymore. I know it sounds like sour grapes, but I mean it. Even if I had $1 billion, I wouldn't want a house like this. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'd want a lot of space. I'd buy 1,000 acres and put a modest little cabin in the middle of it. Having these mega mansions. Look at this. I mean, they're literally just butted up right against each other. I mean, to each their own. I'm not putting any of these people down. I'm in no position to do that, but I just don't get it. You know, the thing is, I could drop anchor right now. It's getting to be the end of the day, and I could drop anchor right here. And I don't think there's anything that any of these people could do anything about it. And I'd have the same view. They've got a lovely view, don't get me wrong. But my $18,000 shanty boat could have the same view tonight if I wanted. But I don't really want to look at them any more than they want to look at me. So we're going to continue on. We should be able to make it right before dark. I think I've got a place picked out on Navionics. Stay tuned. Well, I'm running out of daylight, as you guys can tell, so I'm going to go over here and drop anchor. It should be out of the way enough. I'll put the anchor light on tonight. Look how fast the depth comes up. Just instantaneous. Well, maybe. No. I woke up this morning. It's about 4 in the morning right now. Oh, look at that. It's even jammed up the door a little bit. Wow. And the boat was like listing to the side. And I realized that, I don't know if you can see this, guys. We are on the hard. We're in the mud. So, there we go. You can see that better. I'm looking here. It's just sitting in the mud. Yep. At least it's hard. It's not gonna. I was worried it was gonna like suction it down when the water comes back up. High tide's in about 3 hours. Look at that. Got a little river going by. And the channel's only right out there. But yep, we are. Luckily I tilted the motor up in time, or it would be buried in the mud. So, I don't know if you can see the anchors out there too. So, wait for high tide. We're near Jacksonville, Florida, if you're wondering. Not that it matters. We'll show you out the back too here. So, in the mud. Even the dinghy's up on the side. Good morning. The water came back. The tide came back in. Today is eclipse day. You're going to be watching this sometime in the future, but there was a eclipse in April. And it's today. And there's no escaping it. So we'll probably see it. I'll try to get a little footage of it. We are coming into the Jacksonville area. Jacksonville is a huge city. I think I've even heard that just for square miles, it's the biggest one in the country. 1,200 horsepower. You can see we're coming into the mouth of the St. Johns River. So this direction is Jacksonville over here. Here, I'll show you. Way over here. And what's going to happen, I'm starting to realize, is that when we're coming in from the south, as long as we're timing it right with the tides, we're picking up quite a bit of speed. Right now I'm just cruising at like probably not even 2,000 RPMs, maybe 2,000 tops. and we're doing 6 miles an hour, which is about 1.5 miles an hour faster than we usually do. Plus we have a little bit of a tailwind, so it's working in our favor. But what's probably going to happen, we'll find this out together, but once we get into the river and start going north, this water is flowing like this, and we're going to be fighting a current. That's what's happened in the past couple of inlets that we've passed, and the St. John's is a big inlet. So yeah, just, you know, this is the kind of stuff you do to entertain yourself when you're just cruising along at 5 or 6 miles an hour. Some people call it boring. I think it's interesting. Remember when I say check behind you once in a while? Got a couple of trawlers coming up behind me, and we're gonna give them some room. Now you can see we're coming into the river proper, and there's probably going to be a little current. It's actually in really good shape today. The wind is pretty much non-existent. Out that way would be the ocean, right around the corner there. We're going to kind of wind up around here, cross the river mouth, and get back into the ICW. And you can see, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, we're dropping down below 3 miles an hour at the same RPMs once we're entering the north channel coming out of the St. John's here. So I'm going to probably kick up the RPMs here until we get out of this current tidal vortex. That's what I'll call it. Okay guys, we are back into uncharted territory. Once we got off the St. John's a couple years ago, we took the Vagabond, you know, down the St. John, so we were kind of covering some already covered area for a little while there. And so I always love it when we kind of hit a spot again where we've never been, just right here. So let the uncharted territory adventure begin. So today is the day that there's an eclipse that's happening, April 9th, I think. And it's like an hour before it's supposed to start. I'm going to turn the phone around to show you what it looked like before here. We're just on the border of Florida and Georgia. Wavey, just because I start talking to the camera doesn't mean you need to come out. So yeah, it's like a, you know, hazy, overcast day, but pretty normal. And I'll come back out here when the eclipse happens. I think I heard, someone told me that it's like we're only getting 50% of the effect of it down here, but I don't know. I'm not paying much attention. This is a very industrial area coming into here, right on the border of Georgia. I think it's getting towards the end of the day here. We're going to go hang out with some of these anchored out boats. Maybe go to town. Okay, Wavey, go ahead. We're locking you in.